to the show today, and I do hope that you had a great weekend. And I do hope that you are gearing yourself up for local government election and really looking out there to see what people are offering and to make that to help you make that decision come March 18th. So, in getting to our program today, I'm gonna hand over to Tabitha, who is gonna tell us a bit about local government, a bit about youth for local government, and basically just give us an update on how the group has been doing thus far.
Good afternoon, all. How are we doing this afternoon? Um, well, basically, what we're going to start off by doing is basically helping persons to understand what local government is about. Because we have recognized after speaking to a lot of persons on the road and in our varying communities that persons are still not sure about local government, and they're basically asking the questions, well, we just had elections last year, why do I have to go out and vote again? So what we'd like to say, one, is that local government, it's basically the decentralization of power. It gives the power to the communities and to the individuals that are in the communities. Many of you would know that we know that central government has the ability to do certain things, but when it comes to your local area, your local community, it's hard to get some things done because of what you would have to go through to actually get it done once you have to go through central government. But if we have local government, and in Georgetown it would be the municipality of Georgetown, we would have persons, councillors that will be voted in from at the local government level that would help to deal with a lot of those issues that you face at the community level. So it is important because you would now have to choose who you want to represent you at the municipality level, whereas before you were just voting at the general elections for a party to run the entire country. But now you're saying, well, you know what, this person is running in my area, or this group is running in my area, and they're interested in the development of my area, and so I will put my support behind them. So that is what local government is really all about. For those of us who are in Georgetown, we know Georgetown has 15 constituencies, and so you would have 15 individuals in each constituency is vying for a seat at that level, as well as groups that are also vying for seats at the municipality. Right, so that is basically what local government is about. In terms of the youth for local government, as I think we stated the week before the last, we're basically a group of young people who, recognizing the need for more young participation in the process, young participation in community development, we decided to come together and form this group called Youth for Local Government. We will be vying for individual seats in 5 constituencies, and we're also running in the entire Georgetown at what you call the proportional representation level. So even if there's no individual in your specific constituency, you can vote for us at the top of the ballot, which is the proportional representation part. In terms of what we've done thus far, I think we've had a lot of programs on the radio. We've been into some communities. We've went to some organizations thus far, just to, one, educate persons on the process, and to educate them and help them to understand what it is that Youth for Local Government is about, what we're trying to accomplish, and basically ask for their support. And it has been going well thus far.
All right, thank you very much, Tabitha, for sharing with us, and I do hope that those of you who are at home and you're listening, that you're getting a better sense of what the local government election is about, and how is it that you can get involved. And one of the things I'd like to add to what you said, Tabby, is local government is about it's about the residents, it's about the people. It is the closest we can get to a democratic process in Guyana for a very long time. And I do believe that as citizens, we should capitalize on this and ensure that we come out and vote. We know that a lot of people are saying they expect a low voter turnout, but we were encouraging you, as citizens, to show that you're really interested in having a say in the development of your community, and to come out and vote. All right. So on our panel today, we have some members. Some other members, one is new to the camera here because he wasn't on the last program. That is Morris, who is to be to the left. But what I'm going to ask the candidates to do, our members to do now, is to briefly share with the public, one, your reason for getting involved in local government, and then the platform that you will be sharing with us this afternoon on behalf of the group. So we're going to start with you, Morris, and you can introduce yourself so they get familiar.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Morris Solomon. I'm a chemist by profession with the Ministry of Agriculture. I'm also a lecturer at the University of Guyana in the Department of Chemistry. Um, in terms of why I'm here, is because during my interactions with persons out there, with students, with young people, with anybody generally, you would hear from time to time that they need more representation at a community level. They need more representation at a level where they can meet you, they can interact with you, they can get down to level with you, right? And one of the things that I want to champion is education, and its sister component, recreation.
Yeah.
Education is a hallmark of who we are, and we also should remember that when we study the books, we also need to exercise what we learned,
Yes.
right? So and when we look at places across Georgetown, we find grounds, we find community centers who are not equipped for what we have as young people, what we have in the school system. So what I would advocate for is for these communities to have multi-purpose centers, to be transformed into multi-purpose centers, right?
Yeah.
Whereby you can have not everybody's not for academics. We would like it to be, right?
Yeah.
But let's say the up and grooming footballer or the cricketer or the person who's playing table tennis or something, right? They can have a chance to come home in the afternoons, head to these centers, and also learn. It may be CSEC classes, it could maybe CAPE classes, it could be some self studies, and also we want to transform these community centers into places not as we know it now, but into places whereby you can have access to the internet, for example, Wi-Fi, for example, where you can have access to facilities online which can aid you in your further development.
Yeah.
Additionally, we want better grounds, we want better play parks for our younger folks and persons you can interact with to learn from. And these are the elder folks who might be in our communities, right? We can interact, we can learn so much from them. And sometimes meeting these persons would just broaden our scope sometimes, just to get some information that they may have stored up for all these years, right? So, in short, that's why I'm here.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you for sharing, Morris. Now we're gonna go to Jamesia.
Good afternoon, Guyana. I'm Jamisi Makam, a member or candidate representing constituency 5, North and South Sophia. Now, why I choose to be a part of this process, a part of this movement, as we call it, is because young people, they need somewhere to start. And oftentimes you hear that young people aren't ready. But when will they be ready if they're not given an opportunity to serve and an opportunity to represent? Recently, I read in the newspaper that one of the ministers, they said that young people need to demand their presence at the table. And we can't expect the silver platter to be served to us just like that. We need to fight. We need to fight, and we need to work for what we want. And this is an opportunity also to be role models, to be an inspiration for other young people, to say, you know what, if they can do it, then what about me? I can do it. And as I usually say, service is not selfish. And personally, for me, I enjoy serving. I enjoy being an active citizen. And I often say to be the best at what you do, so that those watching will want to follow. Aspire to be a positive inspiration to others. So this, I believe that local government election is a platform for young people to not just serve the fellow young people, but to serve the folks, the elders in their community, and at large it will be that platform for them to make way into central government.
All right, and if briefly, Jamesia, you can share a bit of the platform that you're focusing on with the group, just some information so that the public would know.
My platform is community development, social cohesion, and security. In terms of community development, what we're aiding and abetting is that each community, each constituency have an office, whereas members in your communities can hold your councillors accountable. If you have a suggestion, if you have an idea, you have a complaint, there's an office located in your community whereas you can go find your councillors and bombard them, because again, they are your representative, and whatever you want to see happen in your community, your councillor is there so that they can be your voice for your community. In terms of social cohesion, we believe that this movement is not to kick out the elders or the senior citizens. It's not about that. It's about serving. And so forth, we would like to set up a hotline whereas we can, the senior folks, in terms of to get youth volunteers to assist homebound seniors and with their needs. So you have a senior citizen that won't be able to walk or to get out and be active in whatever need that they have. So that is something that we're looking into. In terms of community, now everyone is all for safety and security in their community, and one thing that Youth for Local Government is looking in our manifesto and so forth is to set up CCTV, work with the government to set up CCTV cameras at every entrance and exit in your community, so that, you know, for instance, if you get robbed or something, you know that there must be an entrance and there must be an exit. That culprit must go somewhere, so it's easier for them to be found. So yeah.
And it's easy to have a trace because they might exit through, let's say, a backyard area. Right. But once they enter into another community, once you can identify their clothing and that kind of thing, there must be a trace in us. So I think that is a really good idea in relation to tackling solving crime and also to ensuring that our residents feel a bit safe. So thank you for sharing with us, Jamesia. Now we're going to go to Devon, who's going to briefly share why he's here as well, and also the platform that he's looking at today.
All right, good afternoon, Guyana and Georgetown. My name again is Devon Lewis. I am representing in constituency number 5 at the first past the post as the individual candidate for Youth for Local Government. Why did I get involved with the group or to get involved in community development is because I've traveled Guyana, the length of breadth of Guyana, and I've seen that there should be development in communities. Because most of my work is being done with communities and young people and also the elderly. So I have seen in these communities that there's not so much development. So this is why I'm getting involved with this, so that I can see the community develop, and also that I can be a positive role model for other young people, so that they can get involved in community development and share their experiences and their skills with these communities. My talking point for this afternoon on behalf of the group is public health. We know that if we don't have healthy persons or healthy citizens, we cannot function. We cannot function properly, and we cannot develop our communities. Youth for Local Government, we want to ensure that surveillance for businesses, restaurants, abattoirs, markets in the Georgetown environment is complying with the health codes of in the health codes of the laws in the city bylaws. If those vendors and those persons who are working there, if they're complying with all those health codes, so that we can have a healthy environment and healthy citizens and so on. We also want to reintroduce, when I was small, we had health inspectors going around inspecting homes and so on. So we want to introduce that health inspectors within the municipality, so that they can go around and do these home visits. Also, one thing that we want to do is to replace some of those replace the garbage bins that is being placed by the current city council, because it can cause a lot of health issues. Those bins is placed there, and they're not suitable for the type of garbage that is there. We want to replace them, put more suitable bins so that it can be help us not to get sick and so on. So that is some of touching some of the areas that youth for local government is looking at pertaining to health. Also, we want to talk. We will also we're in contact with a company to do having a solid waste disposal plan. We just going to touch on that. I'm just going to say that there's a plan for solid waste disposal for Georgetown, and it's a great plan that we have, and it is a great idea to use what we have and what we want to introduce in terms of the solid waste disposal. So that's basically it on behalf of the group. That's what I would like to talk about.
All right, thank you for sharing, Devon, and thank you everyone for sharing your part. So for those of you who probably would have just tuned in, you're watching the Walter Rodney Youth Movement on Youth Groundings, and today our program is primarily focused on local government elections, and we're presenting to you again today, as we did last week, the group of young people that are contesting the upcoming local government elections, called Youth for Local Government. So we want you to get a bit familiar with our logo. I don't know if the operator has it there. If the operator, good. Thank you very much. So that is what the logo looks like. For those of you looking at home, we call it the Circle of Hope, and at the center of that Circle of Hope, you have the YL, which represents youth leadership, and that is what we believe would propel Georgetown, the municipality of Georgetown. Once youth leadership is at the center, it will propel us into a 21st century city while we preserve our cultural history. I know I see a lot of people talking about development and proposing ideas, but when I see some of the things, it erases Guyana's history, and that is something that we don't want. For example, if we're going to rebuild a market, we should try as much to stick to the design of that market, and we should try to build on that to ensure that when we see it, people are reminded of what this thing looked like for the last 40 years ago and that kind of thing. So we're talking about a 21st century city while we preserve our cultural history. There will be new buildings, there will be the skyscrapers, but at the end of the day, we must preserve those things that makes us identify as Guyana. We don't want to become a little America, as some places are called. So we will remain focused on preserving our history. So I want to thank you guys for sharing. I know we got a swap to bring on another set of people, but everybody will be back on. So you do have the opportunity to call in or text. You can start doing so. You can start texting to the number top of the screen, 671-6088. If anything you heard you'd like clarity on, or you'd like to ask a question, you can do so via text or when we have the call-in segment. So I'm going to ask the operator now to take us to that video, and after the video we'll be introducing you to another set of our members.
I think that it's time we realize youths are ready and the youths must rise. Realize it is time that our youths must shine. Realize we're getting involved because we care. You want to breathe again, then vote youth free fresh air. YFLG for the city, vibrant leadership for our communities, creative strategies, reinforce policies, regulations to make you smile with ease. A modernized city right here in GT while we preserve our cultural history. Vote Youth for Local Government.
All right, thank you, viewers. And we during that you heard a song in the background of that slideshow, and that is the official jingle for the Youth for Local Government. And you were seeing some pictures of us in action on the road, meeting persons, our nomination day pick, and you've also seen some members who are not here today. So we do hope that as time goes by, you get to see and hear more of Youth for Local Government. So on set now, we've changed our group of our people, and the same thing we're going to do, they're going to introduce themselves, state why they're a part of Youth for Local Government, and a bit on the platform that they're working on. Mind you, we will have two or more persons working on the same platform, but that is because we have persons who want to focus in a certain area, and we believe the more people we have on a platform is the stronger that foundation for that platform is going to be. All right, so we're going to start off now with Sydney, who is going to share with us a bit of why you're here and based on your platform you're looking at today.
Good afternoon, Georgetown, and everyone throughout Ghana that is tuned into the program. Like Cleon rightfully said, my name is Sydney Nelson. I am a PR candidate, that's proportional representation candidate for constituency 5, and I'll be touching a bit on recreation and education. That will be the platform that I'll be touching on today.
You share a bit with the public now.
Sure. Well, we have some fundamental beliefs. One being that our children or youths should be able to play, interact, and play, interact, and learn in spaces that are conducive. We also believe that creative strategies and plans should be implemented to challenge our youths into being productive citizens of our society.
All right, thank you, Sydney. Now we're gonna go to Sydney's left. Sheffield is going to introduce herself and why she's here, and then get on the platform.
Thank you, Cleon. Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Sheffield Douglas, and I am representing constituency number 2, that is Kitty, South, North, Central, as well as Sobrianville. When I was first approached by Mr. Cleon about joining the movement, I thought, well, fantastic. Why not be in a space where, that only good can come out, positive changes. I mean, we might not win, well, we hope to, but we might not.
Might not win all of the seats, but we
the
will win plenty.
But the impact that it would make, that we would make, it would be forever there, right? So this afternoon, myself and my Eon, we are looking at infrastructural development. And some of the things, I mean, as we all know, for the past decade, some decades now, infrastructural development, the previous government perhaps didn't pay much attention to, paid a lot of emphasis on. And one of the things we would like to look at is the rehabilitation and the construction of new pavements in commercial areas, as well as near schools. So, to enhance the environmental, I apologize, I'm a little bit nervous, but
okay,
TV shy. To enhance the environmental restoration of the city. A feasibility study. One of the things that we would like to see done is a feasibility study regarding the prison, to see if that location is best suited for such a maximum facility.
Yeah.
So with that said, I would like to hand you over to my colleague here.
Good afternoon, Georgetown. My name is Ian Bullers, and I'll be contesting in constituency 8. That's Stabroek, Workmanville, Working Russ, and a little bit information on me. I'm a University of Guyana student, business management student. I also work at Channel 6. Anyway, I'll be looking at infrastructural development. Well, I'm continuing from my colleague here. I think in terms of promoting this all green energy thing, and in terms of climate change and all of the green, we hear about these green. But anyway, we'll be looking to promote solar powered lights for the entire Georgetown, so that we can reduce that bill that City Hall is burdened with all the time. We always hear about the amount of money that City Hall owes to GPL. So we'll be looking into that in terms of street lighting, all solar powered street lighting. Oh, and we also want to renovate or rebuild where necessary all markets. Well, I think it's like Kitty need rebuilding, but we can rehabilitate all the others and ensure that these markets have proper storage area for meats. Because if you go in the markets, the meats are just laying there. So we will propose areas where vendors can store their meat. Uh, we want to look at proper road signage. All roads should be, well, the names of the streets should be there, and proper signage like the stop signs, etc. Uh, and roads, in terms of road, we would like the proper shaping of roads. And if you drive certain parts of Georgetown, you will see that certain parts of the road is constantly caving in, and they gotta be rehabilitating those roads constantly because they're close to canals and they're eroding all the time. So we want to look into that. I'll stop there for now.
All right, thank you for sharing, Jan. And just to pick up on your aspect of infrastructural development, I think one of the things we also have to look at is the proper falling off of the roadsides slash the trench sites, because I noticed there is an issue there. One, the cleanup activity started. They were digging the drains to get the silt out and the garbage and whatever, and it is left in a slanted position, and the sand fill most of the sand on the corner of the roadside and the play field, the new Merriman's Mall as well. It easily slides down into the drain, and then you see them coming another 2 weeks or so after to dig that out again. And it clearly shows that there is an issue there in itself. And I know the Merriman's Mall facility isn't completed, but what I see happening is money is now being used to continuously correct an issue that can be solved if they just pull it off immediately. And I believe that this is why you also need young people who are very critical eye for certain things, and we see these things and we have these ideas and we want to get on board so that we can implement these things. Another thing with that too is that the grass is being cut too low. I believe somewhere or the other most persons would recommend 2 inches of grass to be left when you weed, so as to keep the soil in place. But when it's down to the ground, like we're seeing along Crowland and South Road and the Merriman's Mall, when the rain falls, everything is washed into the drains and washed into the trench. And again, we got to spend money to come and dig out and desilt the area. So I believe there are simple measures that can be put in place to deal with those things as we look at infrastructural development as well, and that are also part of our plan. So
some of the trees are actually leaning,
and that is because of that same problem. Because when the grass disappears and the rain falls, it washes the soil from around the root of the tree, and erosion then takes place and everything goes in there. Just last week, I think one of the trees on South Road fell because of that same reason. From the root, it just caved in. So it is clear that we have as you would have heard, for those of you at home,